world where change is taking place at an unprecedented pace, businesses need agile, intelligent, and scalable solutions more than ever. This is where SAP Business Technology Platform comes in. SAP is continuously evolving with new capabilities and features added regularly to ensure it remains at the forefront of innovation. In today's session, we will introduce SAP's latest announcement, SAP Business Data Cloud, in short, BDC. A very warm welcome and thank you for joining our second episode of our series SAP BTP in 2025, an exploration of the latest updates offered by the Global User Groups organization. And now, let me invite you to an exploration of Business Data Cloud with KP Sauer. KP is in the project management team and focusing on SAP Datasphere and Business Data Cloud. Prior to SAP, he worked for Teradata as well as a global consulting company. KP is also an author of multiple books about SAP data warehouse solutions. And with this, KP, over to you.
Thank you very much, Tania. So let me share my screen here that we can get to the content also. And also warm welcome from my side. As Tania said, I'm part of the product management team for SAP Business Data Cloud as well as Datasphere as a product. And today we will shed some light to what was announced basically 2 weeks ago with the famous Business Unleashed event, exactly 2 weeks ago today, right? It was Thursday. And where Christian Klein and Muhammad Alam took stage in New York City to talk about Business Data Cloud, amongst other things like the AI agents and Business Suite. But today, let's focus on the Business Data Cloud part. And since that launch event, basically, we've been from the product management side and other colleagues at SAP, of course, involved in many discussions with customers, with partners, even with our internal colleagues, where people ask a lot of questions because things might be unclear. That 1 hour event, of course, cannot cover all the details to all levels, etc. And in those discussions, if I would summarize it, there are 2 main areas of content, of concerns, of questions. I hear a lot on the one hand side, people think, okay, this Business Data Cloud announcement was more or less a marketing coup, as the solution mainly is bundling existing solutions like Analytics Cloud, like Business Warehouse, like Datasphere with Joule and AI. Even Databricks as a partner was a partner even before that event, right? So what's new really? The other statement I hear is more or less the opposite. It seems like everything is now completely new, a new offering. SAP changes direction again. And I think this will take a few years until this comes a little bit of a reality. And can we reuse our investments? Do we have to re-implement everything? So lots of questions in these areas, what we see. And some parts of these statements are true, but not everything. And some pieces might have been misunderstood or misinterpreted. There's also tons of posts and press articles where there is partially some truth in there, but also misunderstanding. And let's use the session today to clarify some things, to take some more time to look into more details of what's behind this Business Data Cloud, right? So the agenda I prepared is firstly, explain a little bit why we're doing it, because it's always important, I think, to understand why we're doing it helps you how we also implement then certain things and how different offerings come together here. Explaining then in more detail what is behind the Business Data Cloud, what are the components, what's new, what's part of what you might already know. Looking also into those new areas of data products and inside apps and how those work. And finally, also looking a little bit at the Databricks partnership. Since I mentioned before, there was a partnership, an existing partnership already for 2 years, and we're expanding that now. There are new areas, new possibilities with Business Data Cloud. So why are we doing this? The requirements in the market, but of course also with our customers, are constantly changing, right? Some of them stay more stable, like there's a constant ask to easy access for SAP data, right? So it's always a big part of typical projects is the whole integration piece, getting systems connected, getting the right authorizations for the right data, identifying the correct data sets, whether you want to access it on a table level, on a database level, through the application layer, what's the best solution there, etc. So it's a quite complex task and quite time consuming as well. So that's an area we are addressing here, as well as another common one amongst our customer base. Since a decade or more, we acquired several cloud-based line of business solutions like the Concurs, Ariba, SuccessFactors, etc. Right, and with our core ERP solutions now being on S/4HANA, there are different access patterns. There are different data or file formats or table formats, data model, different data models underlying those systems, right? More relational in the S4 side, more modern structures on the LOB cloud solutions. And it's not easy to get an access on all of them, and even then creating a unified view on top of it, which harmonizes all the different data models that a customer or an employee or product is the same across all of those solutions, right? That unified view of the business is also something which we hear a lot and which we want to tackle, because that's very important if you want to also apply AI and not only Gen AI, but also machine learning, data science use cases, etc. They all need a good basis, a good foundation of data, ideally harmonized and standardized to some extent, right? And that's something which we want to address. And last but not least, those projects take a long time. Usually we don't talk about weeks, we talk about months or even years in some cases, right? We want to reduce that faster time to insight and specifically address that, and to make it hours or a few days instead of weeks or months or years, right? And last topic here on this slide, right? Simplifying the landscape. That's one reason why we're bundling a lot of our existing solutions into one new solution, which builds on top of these existing ones. You will see that in a second if we look more closer on what data Business Data Cloud is about. That's the overall landscape handling gets more simplified here. So looking at our portfolio, that has also changed now with this introduction of Business Data Cloud. You see this at the center of this, how we call it, sunrise diagram about our portfolio. It's all based on the business technology platform. You see Business Data Cloud in the center there, underlying of all the applications which we offer, the cloud ERP, our cloud-based LOB solutions like spend, supply chain, HR, etc., industry solutions surrounding it, and on top, of course, the whole Joule ecosystem now with the different agents, etc., orchestrating everything. So it's really, from our strategy, from our vision perspective, Business Data Cloud will be the centerpiece of our solution offering here. Now let's look one level deeper in there, and if we look at this architecture diagram here, you see existing solutions will be part of Business Data Cloud or are part of Business Data Cloud. So what we announced 2 weeks ago is a controlled availability solution of Business Data Cloud. So it's not generally available yet. That's what we plan for April timeframe. But you see Datasphere in there, a solution which now is in its 6th year of existence, right? SAP Analytics Cloud, even more mature. I think the colleagues just celebrated their 10th anniversary in recent weeks. And Business Warehouse, also a very mature solution, typically more found in on-prem contexts, right? It's a typical on-prem solution, which is probably also hosted somewhere like in a private cloud environment. And that's exactly the cloud-based BWs, which we target here with the solution, which then can be integrated in such a Business Data Cloud overall solution. And new to this piece, the SAP Databricks component, and what this will bring newly. I have a few slides later on to go into more details there. So if you just look at this layer here on the Business Data Fabric side, this is really an evolution. This is not net new, but we're building it out, expanding it from what we started with back with Datasphere in 2023 when we launched Datasphere in that Business Data Fabric context together with SAP Analytics Cloud and other pieces. Another, what I would also call pivotal step here is the whole concept around data products. That will be a central concept of Business Data Cloud, where we will provide data out of those line of business solutions, out of S4 for finance and different other areas in the form of data products, which are then reusable data products, meaning you use the same data product, the same data set which sits behind that data product for various use cases. Could be used then in Datasphere and SAP Analytics Cloud for analytical use cases. Could be used in Databricks for your machine learning data science use cases you might have. Could be used elsewhere, right? So this is really the foundational idea behind the data products part here. And I will go into more details later on what data products exactly are, how they are working, etc. But this is the foundational piece. Build it once, have the data once, and reuse it without having to copy the data over and over again for different scenarios, for different use cases. On top of it, we have what we call inside apps. That's also a new term, what we introduce here with Business Data Cloud. Inside apps, and I also go into more details and show you how they are built up, what's exactly behind it. But the idea is to have an application which uses the data products and sometimes part of the systems like Datasphere, Analytics Cloud, and the others underneath, and provides, for example, analytical application for a certain use case, like workforce management, for example. Right? Could be also that our partner ecosystem, we will provide that option later on in the year, that partners can build their own inside app based on their maybe industry-specific knowledge, maybe their deep knowledge in certain processes, etc., which will then also be based on data products provided and built by the partner, or having planning use cases in there, or we're even thinking further, not just analytical use cases, but also maybe transactional apps, which might be based on BTP CAP applications or something like that, right? So this is really an open concept here with these inside app concept and the data products, which is completely new, but which is really foundational to what we offer as part of Business Data Cloud. So now that we set the scene with what is Business Data Cloud, why we're doing it, let's go a little deeper here and understand what these data products and these inside apps are about. Let's also start a little high level and then go deeper into the more technical details. As we know, the community colleagues here and people are usually more technically oriented, but let's start from the high level. And this slide was also shown by Christian or Mohammed last week, 2 weeks ago. The idea behind the data products are being able to connect all your data across different solutions, right? That you have data products from finance, like here with general ledger in the example, from supply chain with inventory data or data product about inventory, workforce from HR, and external data, maybe like inflation data, interest rates, could be weather data, anything outside there, and then reuse this data set for different use cases like analytics or AI use cases, right? And what we are building, have already started building, but continue to build from an SAP perspective is data products for different areas of our line of business solutions, like in finance, supply chain, HR, what you see here, and others, that we really get to what we call a data product economy, that there's a huge set of hundreds or even thousands of different data products, hundreds of inside applications, which you can directly pick, install, ready to use, curated by SAP, including the data, and really start in a matter of hours or days with your project regarding this area. So that's really the idea behind it. But what's really that data product I'm talking about? So let's have a closer look what we mean by data product. It's not a term which we invented at SAP. It's a concept out there for quite a good number of years now. And it's also not new to SAP overall. Since some of you who know maybe Datasphere a little bit, we introduced, I think 4 years ago, the data marketplace in SAP Datasphere. Back then it was still called Data Warehouse Cloud. But that data marketplace component that already used the concept of data products, right? Where you combine a data set of business data, what you see here on this left box. Yeah, it's about having different data sets. Could be one table, could be multiple tables, could be a mix of master and transactional data, like your customer and your sales records to build, yeah, like a sales oriented data product here, for example. Another aspect of data products is that they are well described. So it should have proper metadata surrounding it, right? That you know exactly when you want to use it, what's behind it, how is it defined, what kind of data will I find in there, maybe what's not in there, right? So having that description part of it is very important, but also including semantics, right? So especially SAP data has a lot of semantics surrounding it, starting from the different dates which we have, the different calendars, options, the different maybe time-dependent data, like time-dependent master data, that an employee was part of department 1 until the end of last year, and starting January 1st this year, he switched departments, and then it depends really if you look at this employee on the past, right? Yeah, you find a different department attached to him than this year. These kind of semantics are important. They need to be described. They need to be part of that metadata, and so part of that data product. And another aspect, of course, is consumability, right? You have to get an easy access to it. And what we target here is really a software as a service like experience for these data products, that you don't have to, what I mentioned at the beginning on that Y slide, that they don't have to do all the connectivity pieces first, that you don't have to do all the plumbing every time, again and again and again. No, that's what we want to avoid here, really having a simpler experience than we offered that in the past. And last point here is you have to find that data product. You have to have an easy way on getting access to it, right? So that's why we provide a catalog solution. Also, not completely new. Datasphere users might already know the catalog solution with inside Datasphere. That will become richer now with these SAP data products. And that's an important piece. And that's what we will further develop also going forward, which will get a lot of enhancements also. So what's behind these? We talked about, or I talked about semantics already. What's important for these data products is that they will be based from an SAP perspective on a harmonized data model, right? So I mentioned earlier already that if you look at the underlying data models of your finance data, for example, or your HR data in SuccessFactors, they are completely different data models underlying there. So if you want to bring that together, it's not a trivial task. And that's what we want to do for you. And what we are actually doing at the moment is bringing these data sets together in a way that these data products are compatible with each other, right? So there's an employee in your S4 system is the same employee then from data coming from a SuccessFactors system, that these match together. That's what we mean with the harmonized data model. We also talk about a one domain model. You might see that term here or there on slides or in discussions, right? That discoverability in a single catalog, that's important. I also talked about that. We will enable that on the Business Data Cloud cockpit. That's where the catalog will be placed. And just in case there are questions, it will be the same catalog solution used in Datasphere today. That will be enhanced with those capabilities, and it's the same service, the same catalog service we're using there. We're not building another one or a new one or making a copy of it and having two code lines. No, it will be the same service which we use here for that catalog solution, and that is all that metadata which comes with a data product that is using an open source standard protocol, which we call the ORD, or Open Resource Discovery metadata protocol. So also important to understand that is all harmonized and standardized, and that's what all these data products have to follow, that kind of approach, that we can get to this SaaS-like experience I was talking about. When we're building such data products, there will be different kinds of data products. There will be like primary data products, which are basically looking at data sets from one source. And then there will be derived data products, which might combine data products, primary data products from different sources, right? So there are different levels of these data products, and you can also think of it in a way, if you want to build your own data product, your custom built data product, that's also possible, where you might want to use several of the existing data products, reuse them in your data product, maybe bring in an own data set or multiple, mix it up to define your own company-wide data product of a topic of your choice, right? So these are really these modular thinking, what we're having here. That you can use and reuse data products in a quite flexible way. So how will that work? So there are basically two different kinds of data products, and one part of them, they will be SAP managed, meaning that we will offer data products like for finance use cases, for SuccessFactors, Ariba. You see the example source systems here on the top left, where we will provide all the system integration, the transformations of harmonizing those data sets, bringing it in that harmonized data model, and offer that final curated data set to you via data products, right? So that will be out of the box usable. We will start small with a few number of data products. What you saw at the launch was like the Workforce Insight app, which comprised, I think, somewhere between 34, 37 different data products already. That will grow. That will grow enormously over the years. So by mid-year, we expect to have 500 plus data products already there and several Insight apps, and there will be a ton of them coming, covering really all the different areas of our solutions over time. That will be provided then in a data lake, which we also manage from the SAP perspective. So it's a managed data lake for you where the data and the metadata descriptions sit then ready to be used for different use cases, right? So you see, we saw that right part already on the previous slide, a little bit indicated. So those data products then can be used as part of Insight apps, as part of your data science projects with Databricks, for example, or just regular analytics, which you do, and all based on a zero copy delta share technology, meaning you leave the data in that object store and only access it in like a read-only fashion and do your use case on top of it, avoiding really multiple copies into different systems there. The second part, and that comes from the bottom left here, is of course we can never build standard data products for all your use cases. You will always have specifics, like you want to bring in data from different non-SAP systems, which is completely fine, right? Or even systems which you cannot get into your cloud BDC environment, like an older ECC system, for example, or your on-prem BW or BW4 system, right? If you don't move that to the cloud, you might have good reasons for that, or third-party data, right? You can build your own custom managed data products in a similar fashion here, managing then the data integration and transformation on your side, for example, in Datasphere or other tools, and then use Datasphere to eventually provide that data product on the data lake. And then similarly, on the right-hand side, use that exact same path here with zero copy delta share technology for all the different use cases you might want to have it, right? So really, it's one concept for your specific data sets coming from whatever source and our SAP curated data products. So now let's look at the other term which is new, which is Insight apps. Already mentioned it at the beginning a little bit. So these Insight apps are really apps for different areas of our solution portfolio, like the core enterprise analytics, supply chain, spend, customer analytics, etc. And also you see here again the partner option for building also partner-based applications, right? What's behind it? So an Insight app can also be comprised of different Insight apps inside or directly use data products as a core piece underneath. The experience here, SaaS-like experience, I mentioned it multiple times. So inside the Business Data Cloud cockpit, which is one of the central pieces here, that's where you, on the one hand side, connect your different systems into what we call a formation. So you might have a SAP Analytics Cloud system, a Datasphere system, a BW system, Databricks. Don't have to use all of them, and an S4 system. And when you want to use several or different kinds of Insight apps, of course, there are prerequisites. If you want to use an Insight app based on data from your S4 system, your S4 system needs to be part of this formation. And then let's say you use an analytical Insight app where you have dashboards in SAP Analytics Cloud, data models in Datasphere, and your source data coming from your S4 system. So we really have this kind of pyramid, if you like, right? So you have this data source, you have the data products, You have the analytic models in Datasphere and the inside app eventually with different dashboards or stories in SAP Analytics Cloud. So these inside apps or analytical inside apps are really low code applications, which then deliver these different artifacts in those different systems. So you build up the formation, meaning at minimum, for example, your S4 system, your SAC system, your Datasphere system. That formation building establishes trust between those systems. And once that is established, you can start installing an inside app. What the inside app installation will trigger then is basically installing the data product, meaning the data and the metadata flows into the data lake with the semantic descriptions of the metadata model, etc. Then the analytic model in Datasphere and the different views, etc. What's required there is all installed, and then your dashboards, your stories are installed on the SAC side. In parallel, the data from these data products are triggered and loaded into the underlying object store. So, and that, of course, that takes a while. But when that process is finished, you can directly jump in your inside app and basically get the dashboard filled with your data already, right? So that's a huge step from what we had earlier. And some of you might know it with your BW or Datasphere or SAP Analytics Cloud backgrounds with business content, which was more or less the metadata of your dashboard and maybe the analytic model in Datasphere. But you would still manually have to connect your systems to get the data there, to build all those data integration pipelines, etc., your data flows. That was all manual project work. This is now already done for you, and that's a great leap step in that direction. So what happens behind the scenes? I already talked briefly about it, right? So you install that inside app in the Business Data Cloud cockpit, you select one, and what happens then in the different systems? The connection here, maybe let me just bring a laser pointer that you can easily see where I'm at. So that system is connected to your Datasphere and SAP Analytics system once when you build up a formation or in our Business Data Cloud cockpit and the administrative part, more or less, right? That's you do that once, and then you can install all of the different inside apps and data products which we deliver without having to go through that process again and again. Right? The automatic installation of all the required objects across the stack here on the foundation service in the data lake, on our Datasphere, on the SAP Analytics Cloud side, stories, etc. All of that is triggered. The required data products will then be populated also to the catalog, and the models are installed. And of course, we know whatever we deliver as part of these standard products can never be perfect, fitting all of your different use cases and all of the different enhancements you might want to need. In case you made enhancements here on the S4 side, that's usually coming with it. So if you have enhanced, like, for example, your AC Docker table for finance and controlling with your own fields, that would come with it. If you made extensions in other systems and want to bring that, you would need to have an additional step and basically, where is it here? You basically copy the model on the Datasphere side and the story on the SAP Analytics Cloud side and make your extensions there, right? So that's how you currently would customize it on a higher level. As I said, if it's on the source, an extension with different fields, etc., that would then automatically be propagated via the data product. But if that's not part of the source and you need adjustments, extensions, enhancements, you would make that in Datasphere or in your Analytics Cloud dashboard. All right. So a lot of stuff in the data product inside app area, a lot of it also new. So, but what about Databricks now? With the announcement of SAP Datasphere back in 2023, we already announced Databricks as one of our open ecosystem partners and made quite good progress with them for better integration between both companies and the different solutions there. But now we go another step. We now introduce with Business Data Cloud what we call SAP Databricks. So it's basically an SAP specific version of Databricks, which brings several capabilities to the overall stack. You hear me mentioning the zero copy delta share capability a couple of times, right? That's a capability which comes in via this partnership and something which we want to leverage to avoid these multiple copies of data and the need for complex ETL to get the data from one system to another one and to the next one, and to avoid these different data copies, right? That's a technology piece which is central to our architecture, which we want to use and reuse across that stack. Data products, you hear me talk about that quite a bit. When you do like your custom AI data science projects, etc., right? Leveraging maybe the features and functions we provide here also with the SAP Databricks solution, you probably end up building your own custom data product in Databricks and want to bring that back and together with your other data products, the sub-curated ones or your other custom data products, right? So you can deliver from that Databricks side also managed data products, custom managed data products here, and publish them to the catalog so that you find them all in the catalog side here. You can also develop with the Pro Code tooling, which Databricks is offering there, your Python, your data science scenarios, different advanced analytical use cases, where we don't have capabilities in the stack on the other solutions, right? So that's a great enhancement there. And of course, analyze the data at scale on demand. They're using the Databricks solution. How does it look like? If we look a little closer on the different layers here, so we see the central part is our catalog solution. That's what's building the glue and bringing these parts together, right? Stuff from Datasphere, where you usually will find people like business users, business modelers, data modelers, right? On the Databricks side, there's typically different personas working with these kind of tools, like the data engineers, the data scientists. And yeah, as pictured here in this example, both providing data products, right? And that overall building of data products, that's really reducing the cost and the time to develop these insights dramatically, and then reuse it in the same fashion what I explained before for different other use cases, right? So we're really leveraging here the serverless platform which Databricks is offering, and it's specifically targeted for those data science capabilities. Seamless experience, right? Also with the SAP data products can of course then be leveraged by Databricks for these scenarios. There's a bi-directional sharing of data between the different environments here, also always leveraging the delta share capabilities. And yeah, opening up the solution for different user groups, for different personas within your company. And those are like the data engineers, the data scientists, the data analysts, personas which you might have in your company, which typically don't often use the data tooling or the data and analytics tooling which we provide from SAP so far, but this opens up now the way for these personas. And similarly, I intentionally reused the picture you already saw earlier here. The only difference is the right-hand side. So that's where you also find now Databricks being a user, a consumer, if you will, for these different use cases, whatever you might have here and want to use from the Datasphere stack. Adding again to that same point I mentioned earlier, right? So that this now opens up the SAP ecosystem to different personas, like the data scientists, the data engineers, the data analysts, which are typically using those lakehouse architectures and environments here with Databricks that enables them to get easier access to SAP data as well. Another topic we've been regularly asked, and that's why I put a specific slide here also in here, is you saw at the beginning in this architecture slide, the business warehouse component also as a central component of Business Data Cloud. And let me explain you on the next slide a little bit what this is about and how we see that being part of this new solution. So looking at the left-hand side here today, our big installed base of BWs is mainly being run on premise. Might it be a BW 7.5 system or BW 4HANA systems? We mean here both in this picture. You're able now to bring that into Business Data Cloud by leveraging our private cloud environment. So if you do that, if you basically lift and shift your system into this private cloud environment, you will then be able, as part of Business Data Cloud, you can build then the formation again with your BW system being part of it, to be able to also create data products. And that's where we build a specific data product generator for you, which is a generic tool which allows you to use your existing data models in your BW system or BW 4HANA system to provide and create your own custom-built data products as part of the Datasphere underlying object store, right? And that can then be shared with Databricks again and with other use cases. So that is really also an offering which brings your BW not only into the cloud, but also adds that capability on the data product side. So where you then can provide all your data sets over time as part of data products, make them reusable, right? And maybe if it's sometimes only historical data, right? Why not move it there via data products and leave it there, since it's not going to be changed anyway again. So there are different use cases depending on what kind of data you have in there. But BW systems are traditionally systems which run for a long time, maybe 1, 2, 3 decades now in the meantime, and acquired a lot of data. And you don't want to lose it, but you still want to keep it on a cheap storage and having that stored in an object store with all the semantics and everything. That's really a valuable use case here and adds a lot of additional value to a lot of our customers. And of course, helps you gradually, maybe if you have that target moving away from BW, adopting over time more and more Datasphere functionality. That's also a great segue in order to achieve that. All right, now coming closer to the end. Another question which I want to address really today is, what is the way forward for our existing customers, specifically our existing Datasphere customers, but it's also relevant for SAP Analytics Cloud customers, which might not already have Datasphere. or are thinking about it. So to all our Datasphere customers, don't worry. This is not the next thing you need to buy and throw away everything. No, you're already on the right track. Because Datasphere, as you hopefully have seen through the different slides and pieces I was presenting and talking about today, is really the centerpiece of Business Data Cloud. And Datasphere will even only gain more importance over time with BDC. So you're on the right track there. And if you have your existing Datasphere already built out, we will offer for you very likely mid-year a kind of rewiring capability. So not re-implementation, that's important. We will offer you a way, if you think BDC is something you really like and want to adopt early on, yeah, just keep patient for a few more months. But by mid-year, we will be able to offer you a rewiring service. So basically bringing your existing Datasphere tenant inside of your BDC. So without having to do a migration or whatever, right? You still can keep your standalone Datasphere tenant for however long you might want to keep it. We will stick to our strong roadmap, which we have out there, right? Of course, some of the pieces which are specific then for Business Data Cloud, you will not benefit, but the majority of features we built into Datasphere is generic, so that will hit your standalone tenant the same way, like BDC related tenants. It's the same code line. We're not splitting it up, and we don't have intentions to do that. So you're in a good place there already. And yeah, as you saw, Datasphere is the place to create your custom-built data products, right? If you already use the marketplace and the data products concept, also same message, you're on the right track. You can reuse them once you're part of BDC with that tenant, also then with that concept on having that all centrally managed on the object store. So that's important. And second thing here, you can adopt when you're ready. So if you like Business Data Cloud early on, feel free to convert your contract at your renewal or earlier, right? The rewiring service will be there by mid-year, as I mentioned before. And then you can also start, of course, leveraging the SAP managed data products, the inside apps, and of course, create your own custom data products, etc., and all the different valuable topics I was talking about, right? So same is more or less true for SAP Analytics Cloud, right? If you're an existing customer on SAP Analytics Cloud side, no worries, we can reuse your tenant. You don't have to re-implement everything, right? So those tenants can be used as part of Business Data Cloud the same way or in a similar way as Datasphere. Last but not least, everyone's curious on where to find more information. There's a ton of information now publicly available, right? We have a product page, so I put all the QR codes there, since not everyone probably will have access later on to the PDF file which we want to provide after the session. Feel free to leverage the QR codes here. We have a learning journey, very useful, right? Where you get closer inside looks at Business Data Cloud. There's an ebook available, a short one, right? We have a product tour available. There's a community now specifically for Business Data Cloud. Feel free to join that on our community page. And of course, the online documentation you're usually where we're usually having all the product documentation, the help portal, right? That's there. And with that, yeah, we're pretty much at the end of what I've prepared. And Tania, since I couldn't check out what's going on in the chat, not sure, I'm sure there's tons of questions in there which we could start looking at.
Absolutely. And perhaps you want to unshare, then that's easier to.
Yeah, Let me do that.
For the attendees. So first of all, let me thank you very much for your excellent presentation to provide all the insights that are really necessary for our customers. We have tons of questions. Let me say up front, in case we don't have time to answer all of them, we will make sure that they are answered in the comments area underneath this video. So, KP, I said I would prefer
Should
to
I start at the top, or how should we
let
do?
me just read them out.
Okay.
And because that we will answer topic-related questions first. So, for custom data products, how accessible is the BDC object store within the foundation layer? Can external tools and services directly interact with it?
Yeah, and that's exactly the idea, that you have the capability now when you have those data products defined, that this is not closed, that we can open it up via the zero copy delta share protocol at the end to use it in multiple use cases. That's exactly the intention what we have.
Thank you. Next one, data products are like data sets which are ready to be used as source data. Can you please shed some light with an example?
Yeah, I guess this probably came in early because I was going through the different steps and the different levels of details over time, right? I hope I clarified it, but maybe let me summarize it in 2-3 sentences again to reiterate on it. So data products are not just raw data or source data sets, right? These are really curated data sets. They are, if you come with a background from like a data lake implementation, where you typically find those bronze, silver, gold layers of, having the bronze layer more towards the source structures, and the gold layer really the highly curated, harmonized data sets. This is really your gold layer of a data product, if you will, which can be directly reused. Our SAP managed ones are like built on that harmonized data layer, which we are building out. And so this is really not just low level data, this is curated, high quality data and data sets, right? So it's not just one table, it can be complex set of 30, 40 tables underneath, right? So we're completely abstracting that, so that you don't have to rebuild the semantics and everything. We do that for you.
Great, thank you. Next one, comment and question. Great talk. Is it possible to experience the data products within the SAP Datasphere trial account? And is there any open access catalog to check available data products?
So with your current Datasphere trial or basic account, there is the data marketplace ready to be used. So you could have a look there. On the Business Data Cloud side, we will still need some time to be able to provide these trial systems, right? So you need to have a little patience there on that side. So if you want to use the SAP curated data products and have a look at them, that still will require some patience from you. The data marketplace owned Datasphere data product, if you will, that can be already looked at, right? But as I mentioned, we extended it quite a bit, that kind of concept. And so depending on what you want to look at from a data product perspective, parts of it can be already touched and experienced with the existing trials. The SAP managed and curated data products, you will still need to be a little patient.
Thank you. Are we able to create our own data products? Also, are we able to customize the SAP managed data products?
Yeah, 2 good questions. Yes, you can create your own custom data products. The solution where you do that currently is Datasphere. And as I mentioned, you can also use data products from your BW system, for example, to build custom ones, but that is also going through Datasphere at the end. From the Databricks or the SAP Databricks solution, you can also build data products that directly will be accessible also through the catalog. So there are different areas where you can build your custom data products, and you can customize the SAP managed data products. So I think I mentioned it also, but let me re-mention it again. If your extension is already in the source layer, for example, of your S4 system, then this will be taken into the SAP managed data product. If you want to extend like the dashboard which we deliver, or the analytic model which will be implemented in SAP Datasphere, if you want to extend it on those higher levels, then you basically make a copy of it and add your extension. So it's possible on all layers, essentially.
Okay, thank you. Please share some light on data product generator and how it is useful for SAP BW migration.
So the data product generator is not part of your BW migration project. The idea behind the data product generator is that you can bring, when you bring your BW system into the BDC cloud part, that you're able to directly reuse the data models and the data you've built up in your BW without having to do a BW migration first. So you basically can use the data product generator to directly use the data models, so the semantics and the data, to provide a data product, your custom built data product, and use that within those different consumption use cases which I was mentioning, right? So it's basically helping you to get that quicker time to value, if you like, avoiding a migration in the first place. Of course, you can do the migration in parallel or whatever, but this is a great helper and accelerator there.
Thank you. Then how are data products and insight apps different from business content already provided in Datasphere and SAC products?
Okay, where did you find that?
I jumped some questions because they're too detailed.
Okay.
So how are data products and insight apps different from business content already provided in Datasphere and SAC?
Yeah, that's a good point, because probably you can easily confuse it. It looks similar at first view, but let's take your business content, which we have today for Datasphere and SAC. What you get there is the metadata models for an analytic model, for views in Datasphere, and your stories or dashboards in SAP Analytics Cloud. So you install it, and these artifacts will be implemented in the different solutions. But if you access the dashboard, there's no data, right? What you first need to do in order to have it really usable is make your system connection to the backend, where you get the data from. You access the data either virtually, or you build your ETL layer. So you have to do a lot of additional steps to get access to the data, to provide the data to your dashboard, to your models. And that is all pre-built into a data product. If you install an Insight app or just the data product, that is all being done for you based on this methodology, what I explained, right? So the SAP managed data products, that includes the data integration part, and everything surrounding that. So they are ready to use. And that's the big difference to the traditional business content you're used to.
Great, thank you. Are we able to utilize existing tenant of Databricks along with SAP BDC without ingesting SAP data?
So what we offer here as part of the overall BDC solution, this SAP Databricks, what you saw in the architecture picture, right? This is targeted for all the customers who have no Databricks today, but want to use it, maybe in a small scale in our context of BDC, right? That's a great offering for them. If you already have a Databricks implementation, you can, of course, reuse that. We don't force you to buy another one, right, and have a second one. No, these brownfield cases, as they are also called, right, they can be integrated here as well. So this is possible.
Right, thank you. The next one, does BDC come with its own embedded Datasphere and SAP Analytics Cloud, or does it integrate with existing tenants of Datasphere and SAP Analytics Cloud?
Okay, I thought I was clear at the end to talk about that, but let me.
It was in the beginning, so
yeah. Let me take it again. It's a good question, and it's the time is well spent. So when you would start directly now with BDC, today we only support greenfield implementations, meaning you will get a new SAC, you will get a new Datasphere. What will happen by mid-year, we will have that rewiring capability I was talking about, that you can use your existing tenant of BDC, of Datasphere as part of BDC, and the same for SAP Analytics Cloud. So be patient for a few more months. So we will have that capability by mid-year, and then you can use your existing systems. At the moment, it's only targeted for greenfield customers who don't have either of those solutions or don't want to reuse them in this context.
Okay, we are actually on top of the hour. There are so many questions still in the chat. As I suggested in the beginning, I thought so we would not have time to answer all of them. We will take them offline and answer the questions. We will post the question and the answer underneath in the comments area underneath this video. So with this, let me again thank you so much, KP, for all the answers you provided to the questions in the chat, for your excellent presentation once again. And of course, last but not least, a big thank you to all people, to all attendees for joining us. I wish you a great day, a great evening, depending on where you are. And I hope to see you again in 2 weeks from now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.